Hey guys, and welcome back to the Four Train Podcast. Today we're going to be going over some solid topics. So if you're watching this live on YouTube or you're watching the recorded, make sure to hit the comments right there. Or if you're watching live, make sure to ask us a bunch of different questions. My name is Anzo. This is Israel, and we're going to be talking over four different topics that I think are very, very interesting. So Israel, take it away.
Hey guys, welcome yet to another exciting live show here on YouTube. And if you're watching us on replay, thank you for joining us yet again. So today we're going to talk about which was a big turn event coming out of the news from the MLB lockout is that Carlos Correa is currently dealing with a lower back injury. Sure, many of us were unaware of this news, but this now sparks a very big turn of events, considering that a lot of people expected him to be the hottest free agent coming out, but it did seem for that shortstop position, Corey Seager was in the better health condition, considering that he did miss he played 95 games last season. But seeing that Carlos Correa was dealing with this back issue, obviously the Houston Astros kept that down low. Now, considering that he is a free agent, we do see that the Houston Astros will obviously gave him a 5-year deal. He did not take it. Now, with the turn of events with the MLB lockout, if the Yankees and the Chicago Cubs will be the two most likely teams to offer him a deal. Now, if one of the key things I will say this, out of the MLB lockout, if with the luxury tax being raised, one of the coolest things that could be help us is obviously we can still offer Carlos Correa a good 6 to 7 year deal instead of a 10-year, all depending what his physical will be on his back. Now, this does mean we do not have to offer him a deal of over $300 million, but we can still offer him a solid deal within the $200 million price range. Now, if Carlos Correa comes in, I guarantee you this, the Yankees will have a solid shortstop, which will obviously take away a lot of pressure. We can move Gio back to third base. We can have DJ LeMahieu at second base. And if we get Matt Olson, Anthony Rizzo, or a wild card pick being Freddie Freeman, we can see the Yankees having a solid infield. So I'm definitely having high hopes with this turn of event. Obviously, I understand Carlos Correa has been a very controversial player in the MLB, but you don't want wish no one bad health. So let's see what's the turn of events, and we can see if the Yankees will finally go after Carlos Correa once the lockout is done.
Damn, Israel. Yeah. So I definitely see what you're talking about. And when I'm going through all the research, I did a video on this actually just posted today regarding Carlos Correa's back issue. And one of the things that I think we should mention is that he could possibly be a third baseman. A lot of teams are actually asking him to be a third baseman. And he's saying, yeah, I can do it, but for the right price. Now, my question to you, Israel, is would you do that? Would you move? Do you think the Yankees are actually telling Carlos Correa to move to third base after Volpe is ready? And then Volpe will be our future shortstop and Carlos Correa will be our future third baseman?
Well, if they really go out there and make that position where he comes in being our shortstop, we have to right now take care of that shortstop position until we get someone coming in. If we can guarantee, obviously when Arod came to the picture, Arod was a shortstop, but obviously at that time, Derek Jeter had the position locked. He was already the captain of the New York Yankees. So obviously Arod was willing to go play third base and he was going to get paid a good amount of money. So if Carlos Correa if we can have him being both, I think that would be the key for me. He can still be shortstop and he can still be third baseman. As long as we can keep him, obviously we have to bring him in this coming season as our shortstop. But if everything turns out in 2 or 3 years, and we can move him back, move him to being our third baseman and give him an extension off of him being a third baseman to finish his career in the pinstripes, I am all for it.
Got it. Now, why don't we introduce the next topic? Now let's stop talking about Correa.
Well, ourselves here as longtime Yankee fans, we remember the excitement brought into center field from the Godzilla himself, Hideki Matsui, who is a 2009 World Series MVP for us. Well, it looks like the Yankees are in pursuit of one of the hottest talents in Japan right now. That is nobody else but our center field. I'm already calling him our center field, but he's not yet. He is definitely the hottest center field in Japan's baseball league, center field Suzuki. Now he is. I will go far to say he's basically seen like the Mike Trout over there. This guy has had solid numbers. He's just at 27 years old. Obviously, he would be international for us. But if the Yankees are smart, they can give him a 5 years, $55 million. But considering the Blue Jays and other teams are interested in him, if the Yankees have to go far up to $90 million in a 5 years deals, I think that would be a great fit for us. And it's going to be very solid for us to continue moving forward. And yes, I understand Brett Gardner has stepped away, but considering if we can replace him with a younger talent, obviously using the benefit of the international rules that Major League Baseball has, he's going to be a great fit for us and will be solid with us still having Gallo. We can still put him in left field. We'll still have Hicks coming in this season we can switch him around. We still have right field with Aaron Judge and obviously Santon whenever he is not DH. He does play outfield for us. So I think this will be a solid rotation for us. And I think he's a great fit in the pinstripe. And I think that, we have a solid fan base in Japan. We can just keep that relationship going.
Yes, I definitely hear you, Israel. And yeah, Seiya Suzuki. I also did another video actually on him a couple days back. And he's an interesting guy. A lot of people in the comments after I made the video said that he isn't really a center fielder. He's more of a corner outfielder. And they told me, hey, he's not as versatile. But to answer that question, I mean, this guy, when he first came up into the Japanese majors, basically, he was playing every position. He was like DJ LeMahieu. He played every position except for second base and catcher. And back in high school, this guy was even a ace of the staff for the pitching. So this guy, he can play basically anywhere you want to put him, and he's played at a high level there. Not saying that he's going to be amazing at it, but what I'm saying is that his preferred place is in the outfield. Now you move him over to center field, I'm sure he can make the switch. If Brett Gardner can do it, this guy has won several Gold Gloves. I'm sure this guy can do it, Suzuki. And so I don't see a problem for him being in center field and holding the ground down there. And he has some speed. He can hit for average, and he has some pop. So I compared him to Hideki Matsui. And if you kind of look at the numbers, Hideki Matsui in 2002, before he actually came to the majors and signed with the Yankees in 2003, you'll notice that he had a monster year. It was like a crazy amount, like 50 home runs, 330 something batting average. And then if we compare it to, Seiya Suzuki this past season, if we're assuming that this is his last season in Japan, he hit about 320 batting average, and he hit about half the home runs, maybe like 30 and everything like that. So just about half. So if we can get that transition over into the major leagues, where obviously there's a transitional period, I would say he would get his numbers probably around at least 280, something like that. If he's hitting at 320, I'm sure transitional wise, he would get it down to at least average or really decent. And that's what we need. Aaron Hicks isn't cutting it. What is he batting? He's batting like 202, something like that last season. And in the Dominican Republic right now, he's batting like 210 or something. So it's not like he's improved amazingly or he's going to be our savior in center field. So if we want to get him, Israel, would you get him for, I hear right now he's asking for 5 years or possibly 4 years, 55 million. That's about like 13, 14 million a year. Would you do that?
I would definitely do that deal. I personally would prefer him to come in. Obviously, the transition from Japan to the United States is going to be a completely different transition for him. But I think he would be a better replacement for considering that we won't have Brett Garner's. Wait, I should say we still don't know, but it's more likely he may actually hang it up. But I think he would be a way better pick for us. Hicks has had, I don't want to disrespect the Dominican leagues. A lot of great players have came out of there, but Gary Sanchez, let's use this for an example so people understand how the Dominican league worked. Gary Sanchez was phenomenal, but this past season, he wasn't phenomenal. So that's the same thing. Aaron Hicks can look amazing in the Dominican leagues, but when he comes back to spring season in Tampa, doesn't mean he's going to be able to carry that through. So we can bring Suzuki. I do say a solid 5-year deal for $55 million is good, but if other teams are going to bid higher, the Yankees shouldn't be afraid to go after him and push it up more. I think we just need that. And considering with the new coaching staff that the Yankees are bringing, especially in the hitting, I think it's going to be a great thing that we can see him transition from at least even if he just does 40 home runs for us. Just putting a number simple like that, 40 home runs is a better deal than having someone that we know can just hit us 20 to 15 home runs in a season.
Sheesh. Yeah, very true, Israel. Very true. I would sign him to whatever. I would say if we can get him for, I don't know, if we can get him for, let's say 60 million over 4 years, I would say it's a deal. I would do it. Why not have someone like that? Why not be able to get someone that can actually perform and get the job done? And he's the face of Japanese baseball out there for the last few years. And he's affordable, put him on a short year deal. I think you can do it. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think the Yankees should sign Seiya Suzuki? Do you think so? Let us know in the comments below. But for now, we're going to transition on to the next topic. Israel, do you want to introduce it?
All right, guys, this major turn of events. I think some of us, as diehard Yankee fans, love to hear this news. Would have loved to hear this news to actually say it, correct myself there. But sadly, Alex Rodriguez was not accepted or voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, I also want to make a side note, Roger Clemens as well as Barry Bonds. This was their last year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame. They also weren't voted in. Obviously, Andy Pettitte, as well as Mark Teixeira, many other Yankees that were on that list did not make it. But let's talk about this. Why did the writers not allow Arod to go into this class? It's simple. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Obviously, the steroid scandal, a part of his legacy, is a key factor of why they didn't vote for him. I can also see why they would say he wasn't that great of a third baseman, because considering most of his career, he was a shortstop and then he made that transition to third baseman, and he really didn't make a huge difference being a third baseman. But let me tell you something. Let's be honest. A lot of great players, even if you have to put a little asterisk on him because of the steroids, fine. But Alex Rodriguez, even if you remove, once again, I'm going to say this, even if you remove the year of 2001 and 2003, between those 3-year time spans when he was a Texas Ranger playing in Dallas, you remove that, he still has the best average, still would be still in the top 4 in home runs. He still will have a more bases stolen than anyone else. So Alex Rodriguez, it's still going to be very controversial, because if you let him in, then people are going to make that debate for Barry Bonds. They're going to make that debate for Roger Clemens to be into the Hall of Fame as well. And why did A-Rod get the slide? But I do say this, within the next time Alex Rodriguez is in the ballot, even if you do not want to, or you still want to put that little asterisk to his name, great, but you still got to give him to his commentaries that he has been doing for Fox as well as ESPN on baseball. This guy has made a transition as well as an announcer for baseball. So this guy is giving back to a sport that he loves. And no question, he's a New York born son, and he loved wearing the pinstripes in the Bronx. So I do believe Alex Rodriguez still deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I understand the controversy to it, but let's not let this slide by. I think the next time that he's up for the ballot, I think the writers should really take into consideration the man that he's became after baseball and what he's given back to the sport as well. Alex Rodriguez should be in the Hall of Fame, and I can't wait to hear that announcement soon one day.
Damn. Yeah, I hear you, Israel. Yeah, I feel like I was looking earlier about how people felt about it. Some people felt like, yes, he should be. Some people were like, no. And the people that were like, no, were very angry people. It seemed like in the comments they were like, no, he shouldn't. Does everyone that did steroids or cheated, should they be, back in the Hall of Fame if he does? And then there's just people that are just like, yep, yeah, sure, why not? 100%. Yep, he has natural talent before that. So whatever you guys think, let us know in the comments below what exactly you feel about Alex Rodriguez. Me personally, yes, I feel like I said in the last stream that we did, I feel like there should be an asterisk, though. There should be something that explains that period of time in baseball where, if you want to talk about conspiracies, I mean, MLB probably, wanted that to happen. They let that happen in the 90s for that home run battle between McGwire and Sosa, and that ended up just like, becoming what it is today, where people take steroids, at least in the past years, and they're big time players. And so can you really blame them? I mean, they were probably just shown by their trainers and they made that decision, and a lot of people around them were doing it. It's like the sticky stuff. Everyone was doing it. Even Garrett Cole was doing it. So I would put an asterisk and I would just say, hey, look, this is what happened time period, but he was the best even before the time that he was doing it. Same thing for Barry Bonds and everything like that. Did you have something
Definitely,
to say?
and look at this, and I know we even talked about Carlos Correa. I imagine this: when the young man retires, he's going to have being questioned because of his association with the 2017 Houston Astros. So we have to, I really have to say this: steroids was not a banned substance at one time. It wasn't banned. It wasn't controversial until we actually saw Major League Baseball get cracked down by the government. If the government really never made an issue about it, I think to this day, obviously steroids would have been an issue, but we would have had another 10 years of players doing steroids and stuff because it wasn't a banned substance. They weren't breaking the rules, which is a sad thing to say. And yeah, we're at a point where people do expect home runs. And I'm not saying this as a Yankee fan. I'm saying this in general as a baseball fan. People want to see more home runs. So there is that pressure for players to perform at that level. But I will say this: his whole time in the pinstripes, he never used steroids. And yet he was very key for us in 2019 to win that World Series. So let's do this, writers of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Let's get this aside and let's just say, hey, this was a time period in baseball. Same thing with the Black Sox, like the same thing, Pete Rose. We just have to let these people into the Hall of Fame.
Totally agree. Now we're going to head into our final topic, which actually has to do with Jasson Dominguez and Brian Cashman. So supposedly Brian Cashman came out and said, hey, he's really proud of Jasson Dominguez, which was formerly the #1 prospect in the Yankees farm system. And basically said he's proud of the numbers. But I feel like that's what he does with everyone, right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's very politically correct all the time. And so he's not going to say, oh, no, he sucks. Actually, we expected more. What good is that going to do? Like when Gary Sanchez was sucking really bad, guess what? Like Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, they were all cheerful, and they were like, oh yeah, he's a great guy, he's gonna bounce back, and I don't see any of the bad stuff. So I don't take much out of that. I mean, we can realistically look at his numbers if you want, Israel. I'll read out some of his stats, and then you can tell me what you think about Brian Cashman's statements. So Jasson Dominguez, he's estimated to come up to the majors in 2024 right now. He's in low A. He had a batting average of 252, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs, 9 stolen bases. A lot of people call him the Martian because he has all of these tools at such a young age. The Yankees signed him when he was like 16 and gave him like a $5.1 million signing bonus out of the Dominican Republic. And he's a switch hitting center fielder. And a lot of people compare him to a Mike Trout, a Mickey Mantle, a Bo Jackson. So a lot of high expectations, but a lot of people also feel disappointed by his first season in the minors. So Israel, take it away.
Well, if we're gonna go off of that, just remember, even Derek Jeter, his rookie year, he didn't start off outstanding, and then ended up being the rookie year. Obviously, the Yankees went on to win that same year the World Series, but also Derek Jeter, one of the top prospects coming out of high school, didn't transition too easily into the minor leagues. So I really don't want people to say, "Oh, but look, he just had one bad season." Yeah, he's transitioning, hitting home runs from a 17-year-old that's throwing 50 miles an hour to someone that's actually being trained to be a major league pitcher, throwing 90 miles an hour fastball. So you're going to see him obviously struggle. There's no question about this. But I do have very high hopes on him, considering that the Yankees, when there's a lot of people actually wanting to trade for him, that's the key thing. A lot of news articles sometimes skip over. The Yankees have been requested for trades for him, and the Yankees have turned them down. So if the Yankees are still holding on to him, our new hitting coach actually worked with him, actually says he's going to be a solid hitter when he's ready, when he comes to the major leagues. So we got to give it to this kid. He's going in there. Obviously, doesn't speak a lot of English, so that's going to be a challenge for him. But obviously, by the time he comes and he's donning the pinstripes in the Bronx, I do suspect him to be, not saying that he's going to be like an Aaron Judge and have a outstanding rookie season, but I do see him becoming a very solid player for us. And considering that he's a switch hitter, that's going to be great for us, especially in times when we need that in the lineup. So I do see Jasson Dominguez, not saying he's going to be the future of the Yankees, because I feel like that's far-fetched, but I do feel like he's going to be a key player very soon to us, and that is going to be a very important thing that's going to help us go forward, and especially here in the Bronx.
So going off of that, just something off the top of my head, would you trade Jasson Dominguez for a Brian Reynolds, who is everything we hope Jasson Dominguez can become? Right now he's in the Pirates. Would you trade him?
I would do it. I think I would personally. I just feel like Jasson Dominguez would choke under the pressure. You know, New York is a very ruthless crowd. We booed Garrett Cole. Just like we are toughest fans in baseball. We even booed our ace. So, but I would feel like he could develop somewhere else where he wouldn't have the pressure to perform like for the Yankees. But I do see that if we could send him to if we could trade him for Brian Reynolds, all these another player that is a little bit more ready to make that transition into the majors, I think that's a key thing. But again, it's up to Cashman. The Yankees might see something that we're still not seeing, and they have proven us wrong. We have to say this, because I know people weren't even excited when we traded for Joey Gallows, and then we ended up being like, all right, he's actually a good fit for us. So these are key things we got to see coming into the next few years, how Jasson Dominguez progress. If, again, next season in the minors, he doesn't show any progression, I do say the Yankees should consider and prepare to trade him into another team and get other players in the minors that are ready to come up and play for the majors.
Awesome. So any closing remarks, Israel? Obviously, we'll respond to all the comments when the stream is done. So, guys, feel free to comment below and let me know what you guys think. Do you believe anything that we said in this stream? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments below. And you guys can always follow me on my YouTube channel. It's called Anzo, Anzo. Just look me up. And you can also follow Israel.
Yep, and you can follow me on my social media platforms, Israel and VRRO, as you can see the handler right there on the bottom of your screen. And also, I want to give a shout out to our sister team that plays in New York, which made it to the MLS final, which can mean we bring another championship to Yankee Stadium. Just not in baseball, but it is an exciting thing. Just to give a shout out to that sister team that plays in Yankee Stadium. New York City FC.
Got it. Awesome. So yeah, guys, that will wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. And we do this every Monday, live stream it. So make sure to stay tuned and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye. 4 train.